everyone, my name is Chayan, and in this unique episode of Tea Break with Therapist, the roles have reversed. So I experienced the other side of the couch, and I was Lynnette's client in this Sandtray Therapy demonstration. It was my first time experiencing this form of therapy, and the whole exploration process really caught me off guard. So here I am a couple of days after the shoot because I wanted to create this monologue to share my experience with you on the Sandtray Therapy, which I didn't really manage to during the video shoot because I was overwhelmed. At first, I didn't think that the Sandtray Therapy is gonna be much because I knew that I was gonna pick out some figurines here, as you can see behind me, and at the start I was just picking things that I love. This random stuff, and I was just thinking to myself, it's not gonna work. Yeah, just random things like how do we even relate with one another? But you know what? I was telling Lynnette, I'm a blank canvas. Hit me with your best shot. So today I am a blank canvas. So Lynnette, hit me with your best shot. Okay. Ooh, she sure did hit hard. During the whole demonstration, what happened was that a lot of flashbacks, memories, people's faces, names, the things that they said, the things that they did to me started popping up. And I was like, whoa, it's happening. I never knew that they could affect me so much. At least I felt I've already, processed them. I've already swept it under the rug. Why is it still surfacing up? And it really felt like I was a bottle of water with sediments below. And the water is calm usually, right? It's all settled at the bottom. And all of a sudden, the whole bottle was shaken and the sediments started floating, surfacing up, and you're just wondering what in the World Wide Web are those? And I was shaky. I was trembling, I was about to tear up, but I was very well aware that I was still in front of the camera and the show must go on. So I had to keep touching the sand to make myself feel grounded. I was trying my best to ensure that whatever I said out loud was politically correct. Personally, this whole Sandtray Therapy demonstration was really powerful because it accessed the deeper part of me where words will never be sufficient. And it really bypassed the logical and intellectual aspects of myself. So feel free to watch on if this piques your interest, and you will never know how life-changing it might be for you if you just experience it yourself. Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Tea Break with Therapist. And today we have a wild Pokemon here with us, and she's none other than Lynnette Chai. So Lynnette, can you introduce yourself to all of us here?
Hi everyone, my name is Lynnette. I am one of the co-founders of Remind Psychology Center. I'm also a licensed and registered counselor. Other than that, I do carry another hat. I do HR. Wow. I'm the HR director of one of the F&B group locally. So yeah, kind of like going between these two hats.
That's a lot. So we really appreciate your time here with us. And of course, some of you might be wondering why we are on the floor here with a tray of sand in between us. It's because today we're going to talk about Sandtray Therapy. Lynnette, perhaps you can enlighten us on what is Sandtray Therapy.
Well, essentially, Sandtray Therapy is a form of expressive art therapy. So there are a few kinds, right? When we talk about expressive art, you think about drawing, even movements, creative journaling, making clay even. So Sandtray is really one of it that really helps us tap into our subconscious part of our mind. Commonly, people use it for clients who experience traumatic events to help them process really painful memories, which otherwise can be very hard to process at a conscious level. So sometimes when things happen, like it's so painful that it's so hard to even articulate it, or sometimes when we suppress that memory so badly, we don't even realize that it was there anymore, but it keeps coming out in our day-to-day behavior and we wonder why. So Sandtray Therapy is very helpful in terms of helping us tap into the subconscious in a very symbolic way, and we will probably go into these figurines later.
So what's the theory behind Sandtray Therapy?
The kind of Sandtray Therapy that I'm trained in is Jungian based from Carl Jung. So if you are interested about him, you can probably Google him up. But essentially what he believes is that everyone wants to be authentic. But the process of being authentic can be a lifelong process. So what he believes in is that we do have the subconscious and conscious part of our mind. The more we are able to be aware of what's in our subconscious mind, our inner desires, who do we really want to be, our inclination, where our energy is at, the more aware we are of this portion, the better we are integrating them into our conscious level, the more authentic we will be. So the more consistent we will be. And this entire process of becoming more authentic is what he called individuation process. So Sandtray helps us discover what's the underlying stuff that we either choose not to face, or it's just too painful to look at it, or we just simply are not aware, and bring it up to consciousness and see how we can really merge this together and align our personas together.
Wow. Lynnette, how does Sandtray therapy work? Like, what do we need?
So we need a Sandtray, for sure. So there are certain requirements. Even the size of the tray, it has to be of a certain dimension. Even the blue, it has to be a certain tone of blue. And if you can feel the sand through your screen, it's actually very fine, very soft. So the depth of it, there is also a certain requirement. But basically, it has to be big enough for people to really express their thought on the tray. So that is what you will need. And if you look at this, so there are actually, it's basically figurines, and the proper Sandtray therapy should have 11 themes. Yeah. We don't have all here, I'm still building, but we do have the key ones here, like the death theme. You need to have buildings, you have different characters, people, food, animals, transportation as well. But we need to bring in more culture stuff, like culture related figurines as well. So we are building. So if you're interested to donating your figurines, please contact us. We'll be more than happy to take them in.
So I personally have not undergone a Sandtray therapy myself. So today I'm a blank canvas. So Lynnette, hit me with your best shot. Okay, we're gonna do a demonstration of Sandtray therapy. So I'll be Lynnette's client.
All right, so this is how usually I'll begin. And in fact, in my therapy, because I work mainly with adults, people commonly think that this is only for children, but that's not true. In fact, I'm trained to work with adults only. So if you're interested, you should really pay attention to how this works, and you might like it. So usually how we start is I'll get client to be familiarized with the texture of the sand. Just feel the sand. And
one of the beaches that I go to.
And also, like, I want you to know that this tray is whatever that you want to do. Okay, you can move the sand however you like it. You can even shift them to one direction, different direction, or you want to do nothing with it, that's fine as well. Next is I'll get my client to take a look at all these figurines. So Chayan, look at all this. And we want to be a bit more intuitive here. So tap into your intuition and not think too much. So as you look at all these figurines, notice what you're gravitating towards. Any particular figurines that are drawing your attention, but also pay attention to figurines that you intentionally want to avoid. Okay, those might be informative as well. So go ahead and pick anything that you feel like it.
I'm looking a lot at the Disney characters here, the princesses. So I'm just gonna pick them. I have Cinderella, Ariel, and of course Tangled, the Princess Rapunzel. I like this house too. And some animals, wild animals. So I have polar bears, grizzly bears, zebra, and giraffe. Our client have picked her figurine. So Chayan, go ahead and just place your figurine the way you want it. I can face myself?
Yep.
So I'm just placing it according to how I see it.
You can move the sand as well if you want to.
I realize things I picked aren't really making sense.
That's the whole point of it. It's supposed to be very intuitive, and the more we allow our body to lead us, the more information we'll get out of it.
I forgot to pick some trees.
In my session, I always get them to top up whichever that they feel like is missing. Notice how your logical thinking is kicking in all the time. Some of my clients, what they do is if they want water, sometimes they just push the sand and revealing the blue color of the bottom. So if you think that it's something that you like to do, that works as well.
It's okay. I see the blue, it just looks like there's scarcity.
Blue represents scarcity.
No, but the fact that I can see the blue in this sand, it feels like things I've bought. But yes, maybe this bear is here. Polar bear just assume it's here. Somewhere far, far.
Okay. Is that all? Are you happy with your tray? How it looks at least?
It looks a little lonely.
Is there anything else you want to add on?
Maybe tiny bears for the grizzly bears. Maybe a penguin for the Antarctic. Yeah, maybe one Captain America, my favorite superhero. Hey.
For the benefit of our audience, maybe we will turn the table, the tray a little.
And for the benefit of our listeners on Spotify, in case you can't see, so what's happening is that I've placed all the figurines that I've chosen into the Sandtray. So I have my little cottage house in the middle with Cinderella, Captain America, and Rapunzel right in front of the house. And just behind my cottage house is plants together with the giraffe, zebra, and koala. So it's like my savannah here. And on another corner, on one edge, is grizzly bears. So it's a big one with two tiny bears. Another side here is a penguin and a polar bear. And in one more corner is a speedboat, a coral, and Ariel, the princess here. That's about it. And I just realized the koala cannot be in the hot area. Okay, I guess it is what it is.
Okay. Would you mind share with us like what's going on here?
I think there's always the idea of everything living in one space. So I noticed that there is no barriers, no fences, because I don't like the restrictions it has. And I just love that there is different parts, where there is the sea part with Ariel and the coral and speedboat here. There is the colder part of the world, the Antarctic here with the polar bear and a penguin. The savannah areas here where there is the zebra, the giraffe, the koala, where they don't eat humans supposedly. And then there is the more dangerous wild animal of the bears over here. Yeah, the characters that I chose just to have a mix of gender in case they want to procreate.
And I noticed that as you were talking about describing this, the theme of not having fences came out quite a bit. Because I remember when I asked you if you want that kandang on top, I'm not sure if you can see, Chayan's response was, no, I don't like the fact that it's being fenced up. What do you think about this, like not having fence, this sort of theme coming up?
I think even in my own personal life, I really don't like being restricted in any way. Like, I don't like people telling me what I cannot do, what I can do. And it's always me trying to explore different things. I will step out of my comfort zone and I won't make the excuse where like, hey, this is where I am, this is how it is, and I just want to go out. So if there's any point in time where I feel that person that I'm interacting with is very limiting in a way, I will place out a bit, distance myself.
Okay. And it's interesting how you have like different groups of community who are probably very different in nature in the same space without fence.
I was just thinking of the danger of this animal coming to eat me.
And I'm wondering, how do you relate this to your life? Like, do you think that's some sort of reflective of your life?
Yeah. I think for me, I am also generally quite open to accepting people with differences. I don't only hang out, interact with people of the same kind. It could be for religious reasons or occupational reasons where, I'll only go a certain kind of way because I feel there's so much to learn from different people. Yeah, so I really personally don't believe in building walls between people. Because at the end of the day, you realize how everyone is similar in a sense. Yeah, and we can all live together peacefully. At least in my ideal world. Of course, there is the fear of, what if people be, taking advantage of me. You don't know whether the bear is going to come and eat me, but I always believe that if anything, just choose to be kind, and I will always, open up space for anyone who needs it.
I also noticed the theme of, I'm not sure if the animal is going to come and attack me or eat me. That fear seems to pop out quite a bit. How does that play out in life?
I don't know, I was just actually thinking, having a conversation with my own, that you notice how some people would suddenly talk to you more when they realize that you're more successful in life. Suddenly you're hanging out with famous people. They start looking at you rather than, you're just trying to, okay, cool, next. So there's always a fear that, hey, is people just coming up to me just because, like, I can give them some tips on how to manage their stress, just because I'm a therapist right now, or just using me for something lah. I value authenticity. I value genuineness. So if someone else is not, then I'll be a bit more cautious.
So if you're protecting this, like there is this fear, there must be something that you're protecting. What would that be? And before I could ask, she already pointed out, like, she valued authenticity, right? As I look at this tray, I just wonder if you are here in this tray.
Yeah.
Which is you?
Cinderella.
Okay, tell us more about that.
Cinderella, not because I have a stepmother and two stepsisters.
You do have two sisters.
I do have two sisters, but they are amazing. They're the nicest people. But yeah, I think I just really like Cinderella's character. And
what are some of the qualities that you associate yourself with?
Probably on the furthest because I don't even do house chores.
Okay.
I love her dress lah. But I think that she is also a very forgiving person. I mean, all the trials and tribulations, the people have been very mean to her, right? Even the closest people. So for her to still be able to live with it, yeah, I think it takes a lot of forgiveness, a lot of kindness lah, to deal with that. Not something that I think I have, but I really don't mind emulating those.
So what happened is that I hear fears, right, of how people might be taking advantage of her and how she felt like, now that she's probably more famous or popular and she feels like people now starting to, hey, Cheyenne, I do know you, do you remember me? But then again, the characters and the qualities that she really adores are also like, it's also around the same theme, if you notice, like she's forgiving.
Right.
Have you experienced things like this in your life where people say mean things about you and you find it hard to forgive but you want to forgive? Was that impactful? Like, was that kind of experience impactful?
Yes, I think because for me growing up, I always wanted to be the person who is liked by everyone. But obviously, in reality, you're not gonna like everybody in life. I have a lot of people that usually will say behind my back, like no one usually say it in front of my face. But then when you find out about it, then you're like, oh, like, I mean, all this while you can treat me so nicely. Like, what did I do wrong? If you don't like me, just tell me straight to my face. I know, and then I'll just leave you alone. Yeah, I think I am trying to make peace with that whole idea of forgiving that person without having the opportunity to have that face-to-face conversation, like, hey, what you don't like about me actually, and just having to deal with that it's okay that if you don't talk to them, but you can still forgive yourself, forgive that person, and really forgiving is helping you to move on rather than anything.
If we can be very real here, and as much as you are in fear of people taking advantage of you or hurting you, there is also this part of you that you don't want to be restricted.
Yeah.
So I don't see fences around here, even though you know that there is a risk that the animals might eat you up.
Yeah.
That conflicting thought there,
Yeah.
like I want to be out,
Yeah.
but I also know that if I'm out, I might get hurt. But you're still choosing or at least gravitating towards fenceless community. Where does that come from? What comes out to you as I talk about this?
So it's really me just trying to put myself out there again, and just accepting people, even knowing the fact that you might get hurt. People might just use you, take advantage of you, but that shouldn't limit you as a person or restrict you from achieving your goals and dreams. So I think a lot of it stems from at least my religious belief on how to just love people regardless lah. It is a conflicting part because my human flesh is like, I want to hate the world. I want to stay in my bubble, stay in my tower. You were mean to me. An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. That you live in misery. But on the other hand, it's like, yeah, I know that's not right lah. Because at the end of the day, your life is not your own, at least in my part. So I always believe there is a higher order, a higher person that is governing my life, and I want to be a good reflection of that person I believe in.
Because this is a demonstration, we can do a lot more, as we can process a lot more, but I'm just going to end with this.
Yeah.
So putting yourself out here is a risk.
Yeah.
But it's a risk that you choose to take because of what you believe in. But we all need to protect ourselves one way or another, right? If you can make some change to this trait to help you feel a bit safer as you put yourself out here, what would you add on? What would you reduce? I mean, what change would you make here? You can either change whatever that is here, or can you pick new things? Up to you.
My thought is just choosing a life. I don't know. I don't know what's on my mind. Maybe I watch too many movies, right?
We can try. Just bring in the lion. Okay? And where would you place it?
The lion will be my friend. At least I know lions are actually very protective of their own clan. So when it's family, they will protect one. They will eat you one. If I have a lion and no lion is the king of the jungle, who's gonna defy the king, right? So if there's any animal that comes to me, then lion roar.
So it's not so much of having this lion to attack others, but to have the strongest of all to be your friend.
Yes.
To just more of a protective image. Who would this lion be in life?
Wow, I don't know. I think I'm really trying to figure out this person.
No, but it's really something that's worth thinking about. What resources do you have that you can tap into to protect yourself as you constantly choose to put yourself out there? And when you mentioned the King of Kings, you mentioned King of the Jungle, right? And who is this King of Kings to you, in this realm and in life? Perhaps if you've realized that, then that will really help shape or support this vision of yours even further. Okay, so a lot of deep thoughts going on, and we assure you this is absolutely candid. It's really her first time doing this, and I've not done it with her, seen her in action before. So, you want to share a bit of how you feel? Notice how the roles have reversed.
I feel like now I'm as if I've stripped open my clothes because that is how.
Thank you for
vulnerable.
being so open in front of the camera.
As I look into this, at first I was like, how does all this make sense, right? Because they're all different characters. As I go through it, really after having a conversation with the questions, a lot of things run through my mind. May not necessarily say everything that I wanted, but yeah, I think I can see how it actually relates. To say it out is so daunting because whatever you're imagining in your mind is different when you say it out and really admit it. So I think that's my experience. I'm still like in a shock state right now, still trying to compose myself again. That's why I'm touching the sand to just keep myself grounded. But
yeah, I can also see how she's very fidgety. So that's very normal. It's very normal, especially if you have not experienced it before. But this is also really the power of Sandtray. The more candid you are, the more gem you get to dig out of this, and it will leave you with a lot of questions, but good questions to really ponder upon. And the reason why Sandtray is powerful is because it helps us process painful or things that we are not aware of by reducing psychological distress. Because if you articulate it, it can be very daunting, like what she said. But when you just play around with figurines, it's quite mild, right? But that helps us ease into that state. So yeah, should I close?
yeah, any final parting words, words of wisdom that you like to live with?
Honestly, I think this is something that people are not aware of it, and the reason why I'm so passionate about Sandtray, especially for adults, is because I feel like every one of us yearns to be authentic. There's this part of us that we really want to find ourselves, who we really are. And our culture sometimes doesn't help with that.
Yeah.
It's really just putting layers and layers and layers of shoots and masks on us, and sometimes we don't know who we are anymore. It's really my passion to help people integrate all these together. Not changing yourself, but really integrating all these together and finally realize who you are and what you want to do with your life or your thoughts or your emotions. So yes, I just want to encourage all of you here, if you are interested, let us know, DM us, connect with us, and we can have a session for you as well.
Alright, so thank you once again, Lynnette, for taking your time to have this demonstration with us, and we definitely learned a lot. I believe, especially myself, I learned a lot about myself. So again, if you're interested in Sandtray Therapy, just hit us up, or if you feel that this might benefit someone that you know, feel free to share with them. So that's all we have for you this episode. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!